Welcome back to Sunrise to Sunset with Pastor Gene. Today is Wednesday, October the 28th, and we will be talking today about the burial of Jesus under guard. This passage of Scripture today, all four of the Gospels talk about Joseph of Arimathea, and with a little bit of a different twist to each one of them, but they all agree that the tomb that Joseph of Arimathea had was the place where Jesus was going to be buried, either under security measures were needing to be given, and of course, for this to take place at all, Pilate, who had kind of washed his hands of everything, had to give permission for Jesus' body to be placed in this tomb. And of course, Pilate did in fact give this. And of course, Matthew says they rolled a great stone to the door of the tomb and they went away. Security. There had to be, particularly in Matthew's telling of this story, there had to be tight security about the body of Jesus. You got to remember, the scribes and the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the Herodians had all conspired to make this death happen. And they wanted to make absolutely sure that none of the remaining disciples could steal the body and make it look like what Jesus said about the temple being torn down in 3 days and raised again was true. I mean, the fact that they even had to deal with security issues does suggest a little bit of doubt in their own mind. You know, maybe Jesus was right. Maybe Jesus really was the Messiah. The problem was they didn't want him to be. Because a lot of the times the institutions and the systemic problems that we want to perpetuate themselves going through life, we don't want to do anything about them. Stop and consider for just a moment the way some certain groups of people are kept down by the systems that are in place that keep them down and keep them from being everything that God has made them to be. Now, I know there'll be people who go off on all kinds of tangents about that, but let me remind all of you who are listening that we are created in the image of God and that Jesus Christ died for all. And those systems, you know, in a lot of places that are causing a lot of the hatred and bitterness and arrogance in the world today, Jesus is going to deal with them ultimately. Have no fear. That's going to happen. You know, and some of the ways that we are dealing with them right now, Jesus is going to deal with us. So that's why it becomes so important as we look at all of this scripture to take careful note of some of the changes that we see in the other Gospels. And it's interesting that the guards placed at the tomb, I'm looking primarily now at Matthew 27, beginning in verse 62. This section, verse 62 to 66, only Matthew tells this story about the guards being placed at the tomb and making sure that nothing happens. Pilate's involved in all of this. He says, you have a guard of soldiers. Make it as secure as you can. Make it as secure as you can. Make it as secure as you can. The very man that ordered the death of Jesus also ordered, make it secure as you can. Cover it up. Don't let anything get out of hand. Don't let this thing become something I don't want it to become. Don't let my system get messed up. Some of the things we see in the world today have been going on a mighty long time. And of all four of the Gospels, Matthew saw it clearly. And he saw it from sunrise to sunset.